Emily Dickinson, death, and alienation. They go together like peanut butter, jelly, and white bread. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we're here to discuss a poem, a poetry discussion video, which will appear in two different playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist. Number two being the Emily Dickinson playlist, a playlist dedicated to the greatest poet that ever was. I will hear no arguments. The poem in question is The Last Night That She Lived, and it reads as such. The last night that she lived, it was a common night except the dying. This to us made nature different. We noticed smallest things, things overlooked before. By this great light upon our minds, italicized, as it were. As we went out and in between her final room and rooms where those to be alive tomorrow were, a blame that others could exist while she must finish, quite a jealousy for her arose, so nearly infinite. We waited while she passed. It was a narrow time, too jostled in our souls to speak. At length the notice came. She mentioned and forgot, then lightly as a reed bent to the water, struggled scarce, consented, and was dead. And we placed the hair, and drew the head erect, and then an awful leisure was, belief to regulate. So, perhaps the most Emily Dickinson line in this, we're not going to spend any time on, but I have to point it out because it is so Emily Dickinson. She's talking about a woman who's going to die, and she says a jealousy for her arose so nearly infinite. Our speaker here is jealous of the woman passing away. That's metal, man. That is metal. But where I want to start this discussion, we're talking about a person dying, and this line pops up almost universally throughout literature whenever or this sentiment pops up almost universally throughout literature whenever someone close to the speaker or the main character or the point of view is dying. It was a common night. It's amazing how often an observation like this accompanies a poem about loss or loss in a story, prose. But is this universal? I think it must be. I think that this idea must be universal because we continue going while and whereas someone else's entire existence is extinguished. So this idea of it was a common night except dying is something that I don't think we can tear ourselves away from. I think that it is something, an observation, a feeling that must happen. And I think it's a reset for anyone who is surviving the deceased. But then the speaker goes straight into something like this. We noticed smallest things. Well, how can we be so sure? The speaker has said that it was a common night and then went into noticing smallest things, which kind of insinuates that those smallest things go unobserved most of the time. So how would the speaker really denote how common the night was if most things go unobserved most of the time? I think that what's really being noticed here is alienation. Alienation in the common night. So something so great has happened. Not great as in good, but great as in big. Something so great has happened as someone's passing. And this is this is an observation that comes with instant alienation from your world changing. So I think the very same thing happens. There's a car wreck. You get in a car wreck and you notice, oh, my drink didn't spill, right? Something like that. Um, we notice then, as a reader, the difference in scale. We have something like um, the night itself, the last night that she lived. We have all of these big scale observations about night and dying, but we also have down to the smallest things. So the change in scale here is happening for our speaker. This is something, so in baseball, and I'm not a baseball guy, but this is something that I think writers and readers should be cognizant of as well, because it happens to us on a daily basis. In baseball, sometimes if a pitcher is setting up another pitch, so they want to throw their fastball. They want to throw their fastball right down the middle of the plate in order to get a strikeout. Maybe they've got 2 strikes. You get 3 strikes in baseball. They've gotten the batter to swing twice, and they have 3 balls to give away. That means 3 pitches that do not cross the strike zone on the batter. So what they'll do is they know that fastball is their best pitch. It's their best chance to get this batter out. So they got 2 strikes. They'll throw a ball high into the outside. That raises the batter standing there. Now his point of view is up here. Okay, he knows that. Then he'll throw one high and inside. Okay, move back a little bit. The ball's coming high. It's not a strike. Now the batter has his entire posture changed, because instead of being ready to hit, he's up like this because the pitcher has been throwing up here. Then you can sneak one right through the middle of the plate, and because the batter has changed his posture, that pitch looks low. It is a disorientation that happens with a change in perspective. That is what is being thrown at us in this poem. Then we have the light being italicized, this great light upon our minds, italicized as it were. Italics are used to draw attention to something. So the speaker is observing that everyone in the room has their attention changed. The light upon our minds is italicized. We are thinking about this thing. And then we get that fastball down the middle of the plate. Because we're talking about light upon our minds, we are told where is it? Lightly as a reed bent to the water, she struggled scarce, consented, and was dead. I think a good portion of our wonder in this poem, the wonderment of the reader, what are we wondering about? What are we thinking about? What are we ideating as we read this poem? We're directed, I think, by our speaker to be wondering whether or not all of those changes, right? All of the changes that our speaker observes in this poem, the night was normal, except for the dying. And then our subject here, the subject of the poem, dies as lightly as a reed bent to the water. We are meant, I think, to wonder whether or not that dying happens for our subject as easily as the night happens for our speaker. We're not talking about calamity in this poem. It is not the end of the world for our speaker. It's just another night, and it was going as smooth as any other until the dying happened. Is it the same way for the woman who's dying? Is it the same way for the deceased? Does she just pass, quite simply, into this other world where all of a sudden her observations are as small scale as our speaker? As lightly as a reed bent to the water, the light upon our mind, the smallest things were as they always were. Is this continuation of the subject's existence as seamless as it is for our speaker? Is our subject simply walking into another world? Is the lightness of the reed meant to let us know that passing on is simple. A reed bends, kisses the water, and sways back up, right? Is this passing as easy for the subject as it is for the speaker? Emily Dickinson does not answer that question in this poem, though in other poems she does address it. She seems to make the changing of worlds from the here to the ever after seem as if it's almost unnoticeable to the person who has died. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. At the end of that poem, our speaker, who is the deceased, has to figure it out on their own. That passing was so simple, centuries had passed until she realized she was dead. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel. Dropping multiple videos every single week. There's poetry every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.